Hello. I just wanted to comment briefly on how important food is. Our relationship with food. I like to eat, but I also like to feel okay and to perform at my best. And there's all sorts of advice out there about how to eat properly for this and that purpose or just general overall health, etc. And go research that. I'll provide links of what I think is good advice below and on my website, The Fractal Journal. But this is not really about diet. It's about fasting. And what it can teach you and also what it can do for you. Apparently, fasting triggers something called autophagy, which is when your cells basically begin a cleansing process. There are details of this, again, I'll have to link to because I don't want to just prattle on about something I only loosely understand. But the point of it is that there is a health benefit to just not eating for periods of time. One thing that's helpful and been suggested to me via a website is intermittent fasting. Also, Joe Rogan talks about it in this podcast a lot. Although I think he talks more about the ketogenic diet, which I think involves inherently intermittent fasting. But the reason I decided to go ahead and just make this video now was, in the morning I woke up, and generally, I've always been a big breakfast guy. But one of the ways to intermittently fast is obviously you don't eat during the night, so you skip breakfast, which seems counterintuitive given all the health advice that we've heard. Frankly, this morning it was really easy to skip breakfast because, first of all, nothing was prepared. Generally, if I eat breakfast, I like to prepare them the night before because I just, all I want to do in the morning is eat and drink my coffee. But I did have a cookie in there. And I pulled out the cookie and at first I thought, I'm going to have this nice chocolate chip cookie, 1 or 2 cookies. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm a fit guy. I'm always working out. I actually work a physical, job. And then I said, I'm not really feeling this cookie right now. Why don't I just fast and go about my day, go about my activities? And I've done this several times, and I didn't learn anything new today, but the thing about learning is you have to keep doing the same things, and even stuff that you have to kind of relearn over and over again, because that's the way your mind digests that information and makes you capable of implementing it. That's why you have to continuously practice your instruments and such. If you're a musician or practice mathematics or whatever it is your art or science or craft. But yeah, so I was walking my dog, I was practicing violin, and I definitely noticed an improvement, and I don't know if it's just the power of suggestion, but I've noticed an improvement in my cognition, although I also noticed aggression. Now, I drink a lot of coffee, and it's not that I have a temper problem, but I see nothing wrong with getting upset about things that are worth getting upset over. And there's a lot of stuff. But I also know when it's crossing that line of, this is just you being cranky. So I noticed that I was both a little bit more cranky, but better at controlling my crankiness. Because I didn't have that fuel in me. This is my theory on it that I just developed. If I had eaten a bunch of sugar or something, the processes in my gut and in my body overall would be sugary or salty or whatever, It would change my chemical milieu, as it were, and whatever idea I got in my head about why this person did or said that or gave me that facial expression or why this particular political thing is thus and so, I would have had this weird energy that fueled that reaction and kept it going on a loop, which is not very helpful. So in order to have good loops, because we're all going to eventually get into loops, you have a shoe tying loop, you have a getting out of bed loop, You have a reading loop. You have a loop of things that you have to do to accomplish a certain task. Even if it's creative and it's like the generation of new ideas, you still have a process you have to go through. So in order to make that process and our cognition in general as streamlined as possible, we have to control the gas, which is our digestion and the fuel that we intake, and balance it with the mental steering wheel. So yeah, it's kind of like the chemicals and things that you put into your body via food and drink. They are the gas aspect which drives, which then wherever you're directing your thoughts or have been. Yeah, it's a very precarious analogy because you're not at all a car, but just the fact that there's an impetus and an acceleration of whatever is in your head based on how you are physically, in terms of sleep and in terms of diet. That's, yeah. I'm hoping I'm making sense. I'm just going to move on to tying this into what I was saying about the fasting. So when you're fasted, you notice this difference between when you're always sated and when you haven't eaten. And, well, it helps you, if you are in the right frame of mind, to develop that control. And it's not an automatic thing. It's something you have to do consciously. You can't just fast, although just fasting for its own sake is a good beginning. So yeah, go ahead and give this a try if you'd like. I've also, one other reason I made this was I just need to put up content. But I'm not, see, I'm of the kind of mindset of, I know when I have content that's good enough to put up, even though I'm just putting up content for the sake of putting up content. Yeah, so if this is helpful, give it a thumbs up. Comment below on your experiences with similar things. And have a great time wherever time finds you. Cheers.